This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting streaming platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Fire Talk Radio episode 77 proudly brings to you. We're going to talk about, we're going to go back in time to talk about the student loans, how the Supreme Court ruling is done, and what the Department of Education is planning to try to do now, and the Biden administration is talking about. We're going to talk about how the writer strike is going, and now the actors are getting into it, how that's going to affect anything else. We're going to talk about the coke powder that was found in the White House and how nobody is absolved. No one knows who did it. And then we're going to look at Tucker Carlson talking to potential presidential candidates other than Donald Trump. And this and more on Fire Talk Radio.
I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to four. I can only count to.
It's been a long break.
It has. It's been a nice break. I've unfortunately off. I've had internet issues thanks to thunderstorms. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, today going to work today, and I end up thinking, oh, the weather says it's going to actually be okay, and we're not supposed to get more rain until like 6 o'clock at night. It's 6 o'clock at night. It is bright. It rained all day up until about an hour ago while I was outside at work.
That's fantastic. I mean, we found a leak in our roof that goes right into our kitchen, and we have a brand new roof on. So it's like, so I've been up on the roof looking for where the water would be coming in.
So did you get a shingled roof or did you get the metal roof?
I have a tin roof.
Okay. So I'm thinking about, so I have to get a new roof for my garage, which at this point actually houses my gym, like my wrestling and MMA gym. And there's a leak in there that basically it goes onto the wrestling mat. So I just, for the most part, because it's uninsulated, all that, I just keep a fan going in there. So as it drops, it just keeps evaporating. But when I went up there to look at it, there's like 7 layers of shingles.
That means they just, instead of just the people who had it before you, probably instead of just tearing it off and putting, because I think you're only supposed to put like 2 layers.
2 layers, I think,
at most.
Which means that it has like no felt and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, I am not looking forward to having to tear this off. And then I'm looking at other stuff, like they're redoing the building that I'm working at this summer, and they're putting on a metal roof, and
I love it.
It looks so nice,
and you never have to replace it.
Yeah, it's got like a 50-year warranty or something on it, and I'm going, that even looks like something I could possibly put on myself on the outbuilding.
On the
I wouldn't do it on my house. I'd hire someone for the house.
Yeah.
But for the unattached garage that I probably still have to tear the shingles off because, like I said, there's 7 layers.
Absolutely. You would probably want to at least, you'd have to take it all the way to the bottom and then
see if there's any damage.
2 layers. Or at least 2 layers at most. I think when we did our roof, there was still 1 layer of roof of the shingles, and they just put the metal roof on top of that.
Right.
So which is kind of nice. But I've had vacation after vacation. And then I was supposed to be getting my bathroom remodeled this week. But my contractors were working on another project. and one of like the permits they needed, the people who were doing it stretched out the time, and it kind of fell into when they were supposed to be here. So like, oh, can we do it in August? I'm like, it has to be done before September. Has to be done before school starts.
And then the other part about the gym that's funny that I have to do now is my son it plays baseball, and
Yeah.
I got him because he has the Oculus, that Win reality baseball game,
Yes.
which he loves playing in the house. The problem is it's in the house and he's swinging a bat. And I'm like,
that'd be
I'm
the
like,
fear.
just go out into the gym where you have this open space, and you know all the walls are padded for fighters and stuff. So if you break something, you're not going to break it because it's padded walls.
Sure.
And so he couldn't get a signal out there for his Oculus, and I'm going,
Yeah.
man, I'm going the router is only like, you know, maybe 50 feet away. Like, how are you not getting? I can get it halfway out my, you know, backyard and still get it.
Sure.
So
There's
then I
probably
go
something
out.
interfering in the
It's the
in the
metal.
garage.
It's the metal garage door that's right in between. And I even like thought, well, I'll move the router so it's up higher and closer to the sidewall. And nope, it doesn't matter. So now I have to run a cable out there and put a access point out there.
They actually make access points for the Oculus. It's like a really small antenna. It's weird. It's wild.
As long as it's not one of them jump, you know, because it can't be a jump one, because it's even a jump one is going to have to get signal. So I'm going to have to run a cable into it and then run the access point out there. So
yeah, you're probably better off doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, because if my kid had decided to go back into baseball, I was going to do that this year, but he wants to do
it's
soccer.
a really cool app. I was playing it for a little bit, and I kid you not, those balls, like you can set it up. Okay, I want to pitch at 50 miles an hour and then at 60, 70, and it does a really good job. Like you have to do like hold the bat certain ways so that it can calibrate and all this stuff. Because it attaches the what are those called? That the handles or the controller things that you
the ones that replicate your hands. Yeah, they have to fit on the bat too.
Yeah, so they have a little thing that straps on the bat. And so that's how it knows. But it's really cool. I like it. I'm paying like $30 a month for this, and he can't use it that often because it's in the living room.
Yeah, you got to move it. So let's I mean, I just got back from vacation. I was in Tennessee back in June, and then I went to Baltimore. My wife kind of panicked after we got to Baltimore, finding out that was the weekend before or weekend after the they had a big block party shooting.
Oh yeah,
not far, like literally like about, I want to say about like 2 blocks over from where we were staying. And I was like, my wife was like, are we? I said, we're fine. We're closer to the Inner Harbor than we are over there, so we're okay. And then I grew up in Maryland. I never knew Maryland had its own zoo.
Okay.
And I went. I didn't know that either. I always thought it was the Smithsonian. For the longest time, it's the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian was the zoo, and the aquarium was the aquarium in Baltimore. Right? Well, I went to the Maryland Zoo, and I mean, I was not that impressed at all. I was like, I walked through it. I was like, they all have all these coming soon signs. Like they're expecting more animals. They have all the cages there, and it's like,
well, Tiger King, we're still trying to work through that to get the tigers from the Tiger King. Yeah,
sure.
So it's funny. I'm like binge watching now that my son is like split between 2 households.
Sure.
There's times I'm alone, and it's like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna binge watch stuff on TV because I realize now a little.
You have more time on your hands.
Yeah, but I realized something.
What's
I've
that?
never actually been alone. Like I went from living in a house of 5 people growing up to living with no less than 2 roommates in college, to living with my girlfriend, now wife, soon to be ex-wife.
Yep.
And my son came. I've never lived alone. So it's like I'm by myself going, I don't know what to do.
Gotta love those days.
Yeah. And it's like days in a row. So it's like, so I started watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's, which by the way, I never gave it a chance when it was on. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
One of them though, like I'm watching through, and one of the episodes, one of the guys, and I can't remember their names on there, but goes, so you know that Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania? And they're like,
Yes.
yeah. He goes, no, it really is. Pittsburgh is a city in Pennsylvania. And they go, yes. He goes, how? They're like, what do you mean how? They go, he goes, well, we're in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is in Pennsylvania. And they go, yes. And they go, but Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. And they go, right? And they're like, but I, right? They go, yes. They go, he goes, but I don't live in Pittsburgh. Yes. So how do I live in Pennsylvania and not in Pittsburgh? And it's this whole funny line of him not being able to understand that there's 2 major cities in Pennsylvania.
There's like 3 actually. There's like a handful of major cities.
Well, it's like one of the oldest states too.
Yes.
So
yeah, my son starts middle school, and I've explained to him that he's going to be learning history. And being the fact that you're in Pennsylvania, you're going to be learning a lot on history. And he's like, I don't understand. I'm like, you will. But
has he seen the Liberty Bell?
yes, we saw the Liberty Bell. I want to say like, a few years ago, we went for his birthday out of Philadelphia.
Now, going back to How I Met Your Mother, has he licked the Liberty Bell?
No, where we were at when we went into the Liberty Bell, like the walkthrough, they were not allowing anybody to get close to the Liberty Bell. So no, we were not able to lick the Liberty Bell. But speaking of weird things, I sent you a video with Joe Rogan, and before we get into our thing, I want everyone to think about this, because I never thought about this until I saw this video this morning.
Yeah, let me cue this up, because this is something I never thought of, and
I would have never thought of it. I 100% never would have thought this would have been a thing.
So,
if you're drinking water, you're drinking dinosaur piss. All water on Earth at one point in time, if you just think statistically, the hundreds of millions of years that dinosaurs were around, all that water at some point in time was filtered out of a dinosaur's dick.
That sounds insane and not true.
I think it's true.
I don't think that's true.
Let's see. The average American drinks 4 cups of water every day, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Whether it's tap, filtered, bottled, sparkling, or sourced from the Himalayan glaciers and sparkled with gold dust, you are actually drinking the liquid waste of an ancient beast. Unlike humans, who have been on Earth for a tiny fraction of the 186 million years that dinosaurs ruled the planet, the beasts were here far longer than we have ever been. In that long span of time, it's very likely that the dinosaurs have drunk all the water available back then. And then all the water available now is simply water that has passed through a dinosaur's kidneys, making its way through the never-ending water cycle.
I mean, it makes sense. The water, the way the water
How
cycle
is
works
the ocean salty?
Well, it's salty because of the minerals in the ocean. It's not because of dinosaur piss. It's not like I've never tasted piss, but I've heard that piss tastes salty. Thank you, Pornhub, I guess.
Oh
but
we're not hopping into an R. Kelly fucking documentary. Thank you.
But dinosaur. Okay, so the water cycle, water evaporates, it goes up in the clouds, comes down as rain. That rain goes into on land or into water directly, and then eventually works its way through the land, either into our systems, in which then we drink and then piss out, and then it goes into our waste disposal, or directly onto the ground, into the water, goes back into the water cycle, and comes back up as rain. Not only are we drinking other people's and dinosaur piss, we are bathing in it. Because especially when you think about
if you really think
dilution,
about it, now we are getting golden showers by
every shower.
dinosaurs.
Yes.
Awesome.
And if you think about dilution rate anyway, even if, say, one dinosaur, let's just say one dinosaur pissed in the ocean, even though it may be parts per trillion, you're still getting a part of dinosaur piss.
Fantastic.
And my piss, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Think about that.
No, I'm good. All right, so let's talk about these student loans, because I'll remember when we've had, I don't know how many discussions about the student loans thing, and now that the Supreme Court came out and said, no, sorry, you can modify, you can't write off. And they actually quoted Nancy Pelosi in this, saying that the president does not have the power of the purse, Congress does.
Right.
So he's trying to fulfill a campaign promise, because it is election season. So he's trying to.
And it's a campaign prom. Well, he did it during the last election cycle, which is what he did. He knew right from the get-go that it wasn't going to go through. But he knew that if he put it out there, then all of these dumbass liberals that voted for him, especially the young college, recent college grads, are going to go, well, he's going to get rid of my loans, I'm not going to owe anything, and think that would be it.
And then I saw a story after the Supreme Court came out, 63. I think I called this back in February, where when they made the announcement, I was like, oh, it's going to be a 6-3 vote, conservative justice versus the liberal justices.
It's exactly what almost all of the contentious votes are.
Happened. So, but so with the student loans, we have to remember, back in the 90s, mostly people were going to trade schools, becoming plumbers, mechanics. Same thing with like 80s. Prior to that, trade schools were the way to go. It was
let me look at the college rate in 90s.
The change from the dirty word of working with your hands and getting a universe, going to college, started in the 90s, early 2000s, trying to get people to go to college. Well, we're late 80s, early 90s, Senator Joe Biden, the people from Sallie Mae, with the lobbyists from Sallie Mae, got the student loan industry almost. Yeah. Ha.
So I'm looking, this is from Statista. And so you look at 1960, roughly 7% of people were college graduates. 41% were high school graduates. So then let's go to 1990. We jump up to 21% in college graduates.
You remember, colleges were being pushed like, oh my God, this is the future. Everyone needs a college degree.
Right. And that's how it was pushed to me.
Like, so what's his name? The one that does dirty jobs.
Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe.
He always comes out like, we don't have enough people to do the janitors or the plumbers, the mechanics. And those people make
Bang.
like a killer amount. They make
That's
a
what
hell of a
that's what I
wage.
keep telling my son. He's
Oh my
like, I
God.
want to learn how to weld. I'm like, learn how to weld. Welders make
My
bank.
kid
Like
just-
melder.
My kid
What-
goes, I want to be an engineer, backup welder. And I was like, I will pay for you to go to trade school to become a welder. I will
Yes.
write that check. He goes,
Exactly.
really? I was like, yeah, cause that is going to be a skill that's going to be based on your name. And if
Now-
you can get a name recognition,
You're talking to a guy right now that is going back to college to get a second degree.
yeah, no.
But so in 2000, when I went to school, roughly a quarter of the population had a was a college graduate, bachelor's degree or above.
Yeah.
Cut to 2020, 2021, we're at almost 40%. Mind you, look at this. 40% have a bachelor's degree, 37.9. So almost 40% have a bachelor's degree or above, compared to 1960, where 41% graduated high school.
Yes.
So, I mean, yes, we are getting more educated, but what that means is that your degrees are becoming worth less and less and less. When here in 2001, there we go. That's actually the year that I graduated, 26%. So a little over a quarter.
Sure.
I was told by my counselors in high school that
You must have a college degree to make something of yourself.
yes. And they said, if you do not have a college degree, you are going to be working and flipping burgers at Burger King for the rest of your life. Like, they scared the bejesus out of us.
Absolutely.
My younger brother is making so much more than I ever did with a college degree, doesn't have to pay off school loans, and he's in a skilled trade. And that's it. That's exactly it. You know, and so and he didn't even like go to he didn't even like go to a school or anything for it. He just started like, hey, you need someone to apprentice? Sure, I'll take the job. He got paid, I think he said he got paid like minimum wage for the first like 3 or 4 years. But now he's making, you know, cut to 15, 20 years later, he's making bank from that. Didn't go to college. Doesn't have them bills, doesn't have them college loans looming over his head. And here I took out all these loans. So many, 40% of the population took out these loans. And Biden is banking on that 40%, saying, we'll vote for you because you're going to take away our loans, even though it's not necessarily fair to someone like my brother who didn't take out them loans, but he did have to take out loans to support himself while he was in that apprenticeship.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at, so from here, you have to remember, you all have to sign for them. Yes. I mean, some of the classes people are taking, and then on top of that, with affirmative action being fucking axed from schools, now you have to go to school based on merit, not just by who you are. I believe if you're going to go to college, you need to really show that you want to be there. But with the student loans, they're not getting forgiven, and people are up in arms. And then I saw a report not that long ago where they were talking about students were going to like, oh, we'll just stop paying our loans. What are they going to do? Yeah, they're good. They're going to eat you alive.
There was somebody I was watching there was somebody I was watching on TikTok. He's one of the conservative voices on TikTok, actually. But he actually was saying, listen, for $150 a month.
That's the old millennial.
Yeah. You could basically go to college or go get multiple degrees and completely bankrupt the whole college loan system, because as long as you have 6 credits, you're a half-time student every semester, they defer your loans.
Yes, but you're forgetting one thing. He's talking about when like the old style loans, they're called FFELP. They're federal family education loans. Those are guaranteed through a bank by the servicer. Where the newer loans, direct loans, they're not actually from the bank. They are actually from the federal government. They're from the Department of Education. So yes, yes, and no. That can absolutely go to a community college, find
Yep.
out the lowest paid one, and just knock them out. Get the degrees. Yeah, that's the best way. If you're going to do it, go to a community college because you're paying in school, you're paying in-state tuition. You're going to get those lower rates. That absolutely correct.
But what he's saying is for the rest of your life, just keep taking 6 credits a semester and you'll never have to pay your student loans back because you'll die and then they'll die with you. Except for one problem. My parents co-signed for loans when I took them out.
Nope, they go away.
They still go away?
Still go away. You're the primary signer. Technically, before you kick the bucket, you consolidate their names off them, and then kick the bucket.
So when I'm in my deathbed and they say you have 6 months left to live, I'm just like, okay, I'm consolidating finally.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're dead, then they're gone anyways. But with that, people are talking about, oh, we'll just stop paying on them. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. I've seen things where people just like ignore the student loans. They don't go away. Granted, like they'll reach out to you. You can ignore us. That's fine. And we're not going to harp on you. If you don't want to deal with it, that's your choice. But you will suffer your own consequences. But the thing is, now they're talking about with, it was like another forget. They're like, Biden's getting around the ruling and doing another, it was like 38 billion, to write off. Yes, that is through the income-driven repayment plan account adjustment. If you want more information for that, that is on studentaid.gov. You can pull it up and look at it.
One of the other ones, though, that I was reading is him trying to change the student loans for future loans so that it's 0% interest.
And if he does that, he's a fucking moron.
You're gonna at that point, because right now, okay.
I understand why he would say let's make it 0% interest, but no one's gonna want to take out a federal loan, and no school's gonna want to back an interest-free loan. The government will lose time after time again on those loans because they're interest-free, because they're not the servicers don't make money off interest. They make money off of contracts from the government. The government makes the money off the interest.
And on top of that, okay, I'm going to use the school that I'm going to for my next degree.
Sure.
Right? And it's the one that I graduated from, so I'm getting a second one. And
sure.
I graduated in 2007. And I was paying roughly, well, when I started there in 2001, it was $150 a credit hour.
Yeah.
So just credits alone, we're talking about $2,000 for 12 credits.
Yeah.
Very fuzzy math because I don't feel like doing
No,
that.
You're good. We'll math this out.
When I left, it was $295 a credit in 2007. Now, for next year, because I have to go next week or the week after when I get time, I have to go speak with their financial aid person. And it is $458 a credit for in-state tuition. That doesn't count housing or anything like that.
Absolutely.
So, doing some fuzzy math. Let's see here.
We'll just
8
guesstimate it,
times
man.
12. So it's going to cost me about $5,500 a semester, just in credits.
So you're looking
That
about,
doesn't count all the other fees that the schools throw on, because
sure.
they can.
Yep.
Because to the schools, it's free money. They're guaranteed the money because the kids are guaranteed the money.
Offshoot. You're in Michigan. If someone, remember, Michigan just passed a law, you can sue somebody for not using your gender.
Right.
So if someone calls you a cis, right? Sue them for misgendering you. There you go. Pays for your school right there.
Right there. First professor.
Oh my God.
First
I
professor
saw
that says
someone
that.
talk about that, and I was like, I would be the asshole that does it first. I'd be like, I would call
No,
up a
I am
lawyer,
not a
like,
he, him. I am a quinquow. I'm just
No,
gonna start
no,
making.
no,
I'm just
no,
gonna start
'cause they'll be
making up
no,
syllables.
they'll be like, you're a cis man, aren't you? I was like, I don't identify as a cis man, therefore you offended me, and I am now suing you. That's exactly how I would do it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, fucking Gretchen would fucking eat her fucking words, passing that fucking rule. Because it will backfire. It will backfire on the state of Michigan. But back to schooling.
Like everything Gretchen Whitmer does, it'll backfire.
Yes.
So
What's coming up this next year is the income-driven repayment plan account adjustment. So just to give you an idea of how this all works. So when the CARES Act was put in place, Trump had the public service adjustment put in to where people can backdate and get stuff corrected. They're doing this now for the income-driven plans. So you got people that have had FFELP loans for like 30 years and like they're never getting forgiven because they're never consolidated to direct loans. Well, now they're going to be able to consolidate and get all those credits revamped to them. And if they've made the number of payments on an income-driven plan, then the loans are discharged. Fucking fantastic. That is what it is. It's not. There's no way around it. That's been a plan for prior to Biden even taking office. It's just that Department of Education is actually doing the smart thing and actually continuing along with it. But the federal government writing off student loans will kill the student loan industry. Will kill universities because all they're going to look at is, oh, these people went to school and got their loans written off. And no one's going to want to go to school because now those people that are going to school are going to probably have a higher tuition. There's so many things.
That's exactly it. When you make it so that it's easy to get the loan, and the repayment and stuff like that is, even if they 0% interest and stuff like that, all it's going to happen is the schools are going to keep upping their tuition, like they already are. I just showed you in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
it's more than doubled.
As an example, like most schools in the 90s, you could get a 4-year degree under $2,000. Now, most universities and colleges, you're looking at between $80,000, and that's just
you can't
for
file
the degree.
bankruptcy against it.
Nope.
And you can thank Biden for that one also.
I love that. And if you don't believe me, I can send you a video of him doing it. So now that's out of place.
So before we go, so let's hear someone talk about the actual
are you pulling up the SCOTUS one?
Yep. So here's some information on the SCOTUS, what they chose.
It was a hotbed student loan cases at the Supreme Court this morning. I was there for nearly 4 hours of oral argument, and I think this is one of those times it's worth taking it justice by justice. Let's start with the chief. Justice Roberts emphasized the size of the program several times. Remember, Biden justifies the program under the HEROES Act. That's a law that was passed after 9/11 that empowers the Secretary of Education to either waive or modify any statutory or regulatory provisions governing student loan programs that are not worse off financially. So Roberts said, we're talking $500 billion and 43 million Americans here. How does that fit under the normal understanding of modifying? Roberts also said the case reminds him of when Trump tried to act on his own to block the Dreamers program, but the court blocked that effort. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, Justice Kagan said Congress really couldn't be any clearer here. Oftentimes, the court does have to grapple with vague language, but this isn't one of them, she said. Waive or modify, and the Secretary of Education can add conditions and terms as he sees fit. Congress doesn't get much clearer than that, she said. Justices Alito and Gorsuch, and later Kavanaugh and Roberts, asked about the fairness principles of the program, pointing to people who had already paid off their loans or didn't take on loans or chose not to attend college because they couldn't afford it. Chief Justice Roberts posed a hypo comparing someone who took on student loans to someone who chose not to go to college but took out a private loan to start a landscaping business. Roberts asked if the program was fair because the college graduate gets his loans forgiven, whereas the landscaping business owner does not. Solicitor General said the landscaping business owner is outside the purview of the Secretary of Education and that he only has clear authority to act when it comes to student loan programs. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson pointed to other benefits programs that were doled out during the pandemic that went to other individuals, corporations, nonprofits that also may have similar fairness issues. Justice Sotomayor chimed in that there is inherent unfairness in our society because our society is not one of unlimited resources. Justice Amy Coney Barrett focused on the standing issue, as did many of the other justices. It was a tough argument for the individual borrowers to show they had standing, but a number of the justices seemed open to the states being able to jump through the hoop. Justice Thomas looked at the language of the statute, which says the Secretary of Education can waive or modify statute or regulations pertaining to student loans, but it doesn't say cancellation. Thomas pressed on how a waiver or modification amounts to a cancellation, and Kavanaugh later echoed this sentiment, saying it cuts against the government's argument. Overall, the conservative justices were skeptical of the program, and the liberal justices seemed to think it was a permissible use of congressionally delegated authority.
So, like everything else with the liberals on the court, they're completely partisan.
Oh yeah.
Everything that they vote for has nothing to do with the law. It's all about partisanship. So all of these liberals that talk about this not being a legitimate court, it's really the left, because they're not even looking at the law on anything.
Usually no. But if you have student loans, we'll see you in September.
Except me, because I'm going back to school.
And if you're a new student, call your servicer and ask about steps. Learn about what you need to do. Don't just like, oh, it's just going to happen. All right.
Okay,
So
I'm calling you then.
No. I'm not going to pick up my phone. Thank you. So Writers Guild news. Did you see this? See this shit? Fucking, they pissed off Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman.
Have you ever actually looked at the stuff that Ron Perlman says? So it doesn't take much to piss off Ron Perlman.
No. When a Hollywood exec said, we're just going to wait out the writers and let them lose their homes and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that was fucking bold.
Again,
They're not even attempting.
The thing that pisses me off, because I used to work in that industry, is that these writers have legitimate grievances. This isn't like a illegitimate grievance. This is extremely legitimate because the companies, the studios, are making bank on streaming, but because of the old wording of the old contracts, because streaming wasn't a thing back then. Streaming was not a thing when they wrote these older contracts for, like, say, the TV show Friends, which, by the way, is killing it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And or like I said, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that one they might have because it was newer, but we're talking like these 90s shows, Friends, or to look at the Disney Channel, Disney Plus. My son watches Boy Meets World. Do you think any of those writers are getting their residuals? No.
And look at
So-
what Scarlett Johansson is an example. When they did the Black Widow movie, she got like peanuts, and that's what she had
Right.
to sue
Right.
Disney and Marvel for her residuals because it was straight to Disney Plus, not in
Right.
because her contract only is for theater. And
Right.
it's like,
theatrical release. And
yeah,
here's the thing. So take I'm gonna use okay, Friends. So you have like the main writers that write for Friends. They get paid X amount of dollars. Makes life easy. Let's say $1,000 for that episode.
Sure.
All right. Then the first time it gets syndicated, it plays again on TBS. The first
Sure.
time it plays again, they get half that amount.
absolutely.
After that, it consecutively goes down and down and down, but they still get paid residuals. So it might go from 500 to 250 to, keep getting cut in half or whatever they have it worked out to. But what they're doing now is they're taking it from airing right on ABC right now and then putting it straight into streaming.
Yep.
So they're getting their $1,000 for writing the episode, but they're not getting any residuals every time somebody plays it on streaming. And you can have millions of people streaming it.
I mean, I understand. Like, I mean, writers have to get paid. I understand they have to be creative enough to come up with the ideas for these shows, anyways. And I understand. Fuck, they should get fucking paid, and I understand. And then you have all these executives; they're getting paid. They're getting the big checks cut. And it's like, I mean, you kind of should pay the people who create what you are selling and whatnot and all. You're just unfortunately like a lot of those people. They're just they just sit in a chair.
And on top of that, take some of these current ones like that go on straight down to Hulu from ABC or Fox.
Yeah,
they're playing, or even CW. Okay, they play the one night, so they get their $1,000, but they might only have, a maybe 50,000 or 100,000 people watch it. Then the next day on streaming, because we want a time shift. Do you remember back in the 90s when you had to be home at 8 p.m. to watch your show, and heaven forbid the president was on or
Absolutely, yeah,
something?
no,
Oh
right?
yeah. Like my son has no idea what that's like. I tried explaining it to him. And then, or you could set the VCR if you were out and hope that you set it correctly.
or put or remember to put the tape in or rewound it.
Or not put a tape in that has the tab popped. Yes. But now then they got TiVo, which allowed us to do what's known as time shifting, meaning it's on at 8 o'clock, but I can watch it anytime. But you were still recording. So when TiVo recorded it, it still had to tune into that channel. So they got the number for that, the Nielsen ratings.
Yep.
Now with streaming, though, because of time shifting with streaming, an episode of The Flash might only get, 20,000, 30,000 people, but the next day on the CW app on Roku and iPhone and computer and Apple TV and I don't know what other ones, PS4 and everything.
Yeah.
They might get another million people the very next day. Well, because of that time shift, though, the studios are claiming that as a separate rating. So they're able to like keep shows around, which is nice, that theoretically should have been canceled because nobody was watching it during the actual run. But what about all the writers that wrote for that show? And literally it got syndicated the next day. Literally syndicated the next day. at the very
Look.
least, they need to come up with a compromise that says, all right, you get, your thing, but then you get X number of cents or percent or whatever
I mean, speaking
for
of
every
movies,
download or every stream.
with a comparison with like movies that are being done right now, you can't change the written script that's already there because there's no Deadpool 3. Have you? I mean,
I've been in that and the yellow Wolverine suit, and
I was hoping like more things would pop up. I can't wait and all.
Yeah.
But Ryan Reynolds is infamous for ad-libbing and then
Yes.
editing the script, right? It's known Deadpool 1 and 2, he ad-libbed like on 98% of that script and then just rewrote and then updated it. Now he has to go buy this script because he can't pay a writer to do so.
right.
And that sucks because now we won't actually see how he would have actually been for Deadpool.
Well, and it's gonna go. I think it's going to snowball into the rest of the what we call under the line, people on a set, positions. So over the line are the people that you see in the 90s when they used to show credits at the beginning of a show.
Yeah.
Or a movie. Those people were the over the line. Those were like, the actors, the director, maybe the cinematographer, the music, certain people. But then there's the under the line. So that would be editors, that would be grips, that would be best boys, that would be, all of these people that make this actually work, because you have a cinematographer that he can't do all the lighting himself. He says what he wants and maybe even draws it up, but it's actually the lighting director and the electricians that have to put up the lights and do all the aiming and do all the math and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Those people are also not getting the residuals they need. So I think it's going to start with the writers, and I think it's going to snowball.
So with this, I was looking for more stuff. I came across Ship. She was talking about it, and she brought up a weird twist on it. And let's listen.
Hollywood's going on strike. And before you scroll on because you don't care, know that I also do not care. However, let's talk about the reason why they're on strike. I'm not going to lie, I didn't see this coming. Well, actors versus AI, artificial intelligence. The strike brings focus to emerging use of advanced technology. The article basically goes on to state that the actors are complaining that they're only being paid for 1 day's pay so that an AI can scan who they are, and then they're going to use the AI-generated scan throughout the entire movie. Propose that our background performers should be able to be scanned, get paid for 1 day's pay, and their company should own the scan, their image, and their likeness, and it should be able to use it for the rest of eternity in any project. I didn't see that coming, and I don't believe it. I think it's bullshit. We've talked for a long time about how Hollywood and the media are being replaced by social media and content creators. Proven over and over and over again by content creators getting hired by the likes of, say, the White House to push a certain agenda. They're not hiring Hollywood to do this anymore. But why would Hollywood actors want to come out and start planting seeds in people's brains about videos of them being AI and not necessarily them? There's a lot to Hollywood. There's a lot that we found out. What if they're setting this all up so that when the shit hits the fan, they can come out and say, well, no, that was AI. Or that wasn't me that did that. That was a scan of me. What if they're prematurely trying to cover their asses? I just don't believe the reason they're going on strike. And this is as much of attention as I'm going to give to it. My biggest hope for humanity is that Hollywood burns to the ground in its entirety. Your little AI doubles with you. Hollywood's
that thing's up a whole different can of worms.
It
than
does,
the
right?
writers' strike.
I know, but I mean,
can they
but
can they
'cause if
do
you
that
notice-
with AI? Yeah, because we've seen deep fakes that
Well, look at with Ron, like I just said at the beginning, Ron Perlman was joining. A lot of actors are joining, and then with what is it, the Sound of Freedom just coming
Yes.
out with
which is blowing
my
everyone
God.
else out of the water.
What-
And the news hates it.
Oh my God, it's a QAnon film. It's a partially true story. No, it's a true fucking story. It's about a guy who did it all on his own and all. And
The thing is about that film is that they're speaking out against stopping child sex slavery.
Yeah.
How
And
do you
know,
speak out against sex slavery?
So I watched another thing earlier today. So what Anthony Bourdain, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, and there was one other. They were working on a movie called The Silent Children. It's a documentary using the Clinton Foundation was using in Haiti for child trafficking. And they were before the movie, even the documentary got finished to be put out, they've all unfortunately off themselves. Or they were offed. I don't want to believe they were offed. I don't think they did it to themselves. But I always the last full album of Linkin Park, it always sounds like Chester Bennington's Suicide Letter, the whole fucking album.
But getting back to this whole AI thing, I mean, celebrities. Okay, so there's two parts to this.
That's
that
the thing. Is like
up.
with them really starting to expose how Hollyweird is. Like Hollyweird is really starting to come out more. The whole AI thing they may use as a scapegoat, and that's what I'm worried about. Like, oh yeah, we didn't do that. That was our AI who did it. I'm like, what?
Okay. So there's two parts to this. The first part I'll address, which is the Hollywood media financial side to it. If knowing what I know about the industry, would they do something like this? Fuck yeah, they would. If they had a way to not have to pay, could you imagine if they were able to make Forrest Gump without having to give Tom Hanks like 60% of the royalties from it?
Absolutely.
I mean, of course they would. Basically say, Tom Hanks, come stand here. Okay, turn to your left, turn to your right. Okay, thank you. And then he's done. And they pay him $10,000 or $100,000, and that's it. And then they make the whole film with him. Would they do that? Absolutely. Because everything in Hollywood is about money. Everything is about money. The way that they treat their actors, the casting couch, all of that is about money.
Casting couch.
Okay. So yes, they would absolutely do that. The background actors, I can definitely see them doing that, because for the most part, a background actor, if you do not speak, you're pretty much paid $100 a day, which is less than what a lot of substitute teachers make. So yeah, you're not. But if they could say, okay, we're making this film, here's all the actors in the background, and they scan them all with the camera, and they use the camera to scan afterwards, and they sign a thing of perpetuity and all this stuff, then they absolutely will put them in. They do that already with a lot of movies that take place with crowds, like sports movies, where they literally have like a group of background actors in one spot, and then they basically duplicate them over and over and over to make the big crowd.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they already do something similar to that. Just the technology with AI and deep faking is getting to the point that they literally could make theoretically a full movie and then hire some no-name person to basically do the actions of Tom Hanks and just put Tom Hanks's face and likeness over top of that person. Now the other part to that is actors covering their own asses ahead of time. So we've already seen, and I've looked at some deep fakes that, had I not known it was a deep fake, looked real as hell. And it's like, so when Photoshop first came out, it was really a thing. You can't trust what your eyes see in a photo anymore. It used to be, we have photographic evidence. Now it's like, we have photographic evidence, but do you really?
Yeah, was it touched?
Like, how much of that is actually real? And how much did you like paint in afterwards? But then when that happened, they said, well, we have it on video, because at the time you couldn't change a person's face in a video.
Sure.
You could do it on a picture. Well, now, or we have audio. Listen, you can hear the person on audio. And it's like, well, yeah, it sounds like that. Well, but now with AI, someone could literally take one of our podcasts and using AI as a script, make us say whatever they want and record it and say, see, listen to what Jason and Ryan said. Again, but video is different. Video is too complex. There's too many pixels. It's moving. It's all this. Well, now with AI being able to use rotoscoping technology, updated technology with that, updated vector technology, everything, you can literally go on the internet, get 20 different pictures of Gal Gadot, and have Gal Gadot starring in her own porno. There was actually an actress or someone that had to sue Pornhub for that, because someone used her face from a bunch of pictures, put it over top of a porn star, and told the world, hey, look at this leaked video of such and such actress. So yeah, I can see them getting out ahead of this, because one, if it happens, they need to be able to say, see, I told you so. But then the other one is, if they do say some Roseanne Barr shit, they can say, oh, I didn't actually say that. It was.
I loved it. ABC had to apologize to her. That was great. And all, but
Ambien will make you do some fucked up things. I cooked a full breakfast and evidently didn't eat it. I got up, made eggs, made bacon, made everything, turned the stove off, went back to bed. The next day I get up and I'm going, what?
It happens, man.
Yeah, so I know if I'm about to use Ambien, I need to give, it's like a drunk driving. I need to give someone else my car keys, because otherwise something really bad may happen.
Absolutely. But was it now? I mean, we'll continue to monitor the writer strike. I just want to see where it progresses. I really don't give a shit, because Hollywood's like really not the way I think it is anymore. I mean,
but I am involved with it and I am following it because these are my friends that are being affected. These are my friends that are writers. These are my friends that are grips, that are electricians, that are being affected by this. And so I'm following it for personal reasons, but I'm also following it because I like watching TV. And the last time we had a writer's strike, we got really shitty television. We basically got reality TV pushed up our asses because reality TV doesn't have a quote. Yeah, we don't in reality TV has writers, but they're not quote unquote writers, they're producers, and I'm using air quotes, because basically they're writing the scripts after things happen, and I don't want that again. I'm a big fan of fiction TV, and I don't want that to go away, even for a little bit. All right. Can we talk about white powder? White powder!
Oh my god. All right, so yeah, we'll hop into this.
Do we have people walking around in masks yelling white powder at the White House now?
No.
I want to see some videos of people in masks yelling white powder.
So, as Jason has been wanting to say white powder like all day.
Since like 2 days ago, I told you.
So yes, cocaine was found at the West Wing. It has been found. It has been supposedly found in 3 different areas, and then back in the locker room. I was like, wow, cocaine walks. I mean, I figured when you're like on cocaine, they
Well,
said they
in the
found
latest one they said is in a public area of the White House now.
it was in the it's in the locker room of the West Wing number 50, where evidentially there's no fingerprints or DNA able to be found. They said they found it Thursday. KGP was fantastic to give us the schedule that the Biden family was not in the White
I have
House.
two
Friday,
KGP
Saturday,
clips.
Sunday.
I have two clips that you gave me.
Oh, I put a few up there. We'll get to them. But my thing is that we know it. We all have that suspicion. It is Hunter Biden's. Why? Because we've all seen.
It's not actually cocaine. It's Parmesan cheese they found. He likes to carry around his Parmesan cheese to sprinkle on his food. Everybody does it. You know,
No.
and when it falls in the carpet, the only thing you can do, you can't vacuum up Parmesan cheese. You have to use your nose. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, no. And then I mean, those videos of him fucking smoking a crack pipe, for fucking sake.
I still love
yes.
the video where somebody cut in Biden in the 90s talking about the how much a gram of coke is and everything, and then with his pictures of him measuring out crack, and it's got like 3 or 4 ounces or 3 or 4 grams, I mean, of coke.
A nickel size of crack should be fucking thrown in jail for life. No,
but he's so proud of his son still.
Oh my God.
He's still proud of his son.
I know. He's the smartest guy he knows. I really hope. No. But with that being said, they tried to say that, oh, it could have been there for years. And I'm like, they're trying to run this on the Trump administration, for fuck's sake.
That's their go-to well. They have no other well.
Well, then CNN, they were talking about it, and then someone says, well, it was found in the West Wing where Kamala Harris parks. And I'm like, they're going to throw Kamala Harris under the bus for this. They're just going to, I was like, this is it. This is how they're going to get her out as VP, and then they can work somebody new in. I'm like, and then when the Secret Service came out, that's the thing. The White House is full of cameras.
Right.
Full. I mean, fucking there's
very little that they sweep it like every night, so they have a time frame.
And plus they've proven that whoever's it was never had to go through any of the checkpoints. Because when you go through the checkpoints, you get checked.
Searched. Yes, you get searched. So who are the people that don't go through the checkpoints? That would be the president
and his
vice president and their families. That's it.
So a family member of either the president of the United States or the vice president of the United States brought coke and was doing it in the library and left it in a locker. And now the key for that locker is mysteriously missing. But there's no fingerprints. Everything's been wiped clean. I got kicked out of the White House at the age of 13 for giving Bill Clinton the middle finger for getting a blowjob under the desk, and called him out on a White House tour. How did the fuck?
That would be funny.
That was my middle school. That was my middle school highlight of my life. How does nobody know who brought cocaine into the fucking White House?
Yeah, the place has more cameras. Like, you cannot walk an inch without a camera being on you, unless you're the family of the president
and you're being escorted around by Secret Service. Right. They're not going to check you. They're just going to pass you through. You were driven in through the back door. You're walked through where you need to be. But and then the first thing KGP, I know you're probably gonna pop up the video to say, she goes, they weren't here. Well, I mean, they weren't there when it was found, absolutely. But he was probably out of his mind after he did it and just forgot about it, which is possible. I mean, like Joe Biden took paperwork home that he should never have had and forgot about it and left it in the garage next to his fucking Corvette, where his son was probably in there fucking snorting coke off it.
Yeah, you know his son was snorting coke off of the classified documents in their oh so secure garage.
Yeah. All right. Let's piss off KG. You know she hates her job right now.
Oh God!
You
Just
know
the
she
looks on her
gets up in the
face.
morning and goes,
Fucking God,
now I
just
know
that.
why Saki fucking stepped down because of bullshit was coming ahead and she didn't tell me shit. And here I am. I'm just getting fucking railed and not being told about it with no lube whatsoever. I'm just getting fucking railed. And
like she's getting it elbow deep with no lube.
She's getting fucking elbow deep. Oh, good. And not even in the nice way. It's just like, oh.
like they're like running and punching. Like,
yeah. I mean, look at her face right now. She's like, I don't want to be at this stand.
Oh, okay.
Lastly, on the cocaine that was found, following up on Tyler's question, one thing that you're not expressing is concern over the fact that this was found on the property. And I guess I'm wondering how expressing concern would somehow get ahead of a Secret Service investigation.
I think this is being investigated. It's under the purview of the Secret Service. We're going to let them get to the bottom of this and see what happened. I'm just not going to get ahead of it. Just not.
Okay. Can you get back?
Is that kind of like another way of saying we're going to circle back?
Absolutely.
Any more details on where the Secret Service found the cocaine in the West Wing and how it found it?
So, as you know, this is under the purview of the Secret Service. They are currently investigating what happened over the weekend. So I would have to refer you to the Secret Service on all of this. But one thing that I can share that I'll share a little bit more information. As you know, the president and the first lady and their family were not here this weekend, as you all reported on this. And as you also know, that they left on Friday and returned just yesterday. Where this was discovered is a heavily traveled area where many White House West Wing, I should be even more specific, West Wing visitors come through this particular area. I just don't have anything more to share. It is under investigation by the Secret Service. This is in their purview. And so we're going to allow certainly the investigation to continue. And we have confidence that the Secret Service will get to the bottom of this. Go ahead.
The president said, hey, let's get to the bottom of what happened here.
Well, I just said that we have confidence that the Secret Service is going to get to the bottom of this. As you all know, the president follows all the reporting here, and he certainly was briefed by his staff.
You know, at this point, she really just wants to say, you know what, shut the fuck up. Okay? I'm not telling you anymore.
I want to leave.
Yes,
I want to.
You know I'm not. You know I'm not going to tell you what you want. So just shut the fuck up.
The White House. Is the White House conducting its own internal investigation?
This is something that's under the purview of the Secret Service. They're the ones who handle this investigation, so it lives in their purview, in their world.
And then just a quick follow-up on this type of tour. Can you explain to the American people who would have access to the West Wing on this type of tour and what kind of protocols are in place?
So look, when it comes to security protocol, that's something that the Secret Service certainly is going to handle. And so that is a question for them. When it comes to when it comes to visitors to the West Wing, they come for many reasons. Obviously, we do have West Wing tours that occur here on campus. They happen in this particular past couple of days. They happen on Friday, they happen on Saturday and Sunday. The times that they do not happen is when there's a federal holiday, like yesterday, there was not a West Wing tour. And also when there's a white.
Okay. All right. There's like another like 5
8
minutes of
yeah.
her doing this.
It's literally just
It just keeps getting sadder and sadder the more it goes on, because she is so I want to say she's so bad at her job, but
why
when
are
your
you
job,
asking me about cocaine?
yeah, but when your whole job is basically fuck, I gotta I gotta deflect every answer for the next half hour. Then
And then Jen Psaki. I mean, Jen Psaki was I'll just circle back.
yeah, we'll circle back on that. We'll circle back on this.
Circle back.
And so here's the thing. I think it was Bongino. Was it Bongino that pointed out, or one of the articles, the Washington Post, that basically showed, the cocaine moved again? Because first it was in the
Bongino.
Yeah,
It was Bongino.
First it was in the library. Then it was in the East Wing, still like
So
a secured area, but more traffic. And now they put it where, anybody could have brought it in.
So Bongino left Fox, as we all know. He went back to doing his own thing. He's on Rumble and everything. But before all this, we all have to remember, Mr. Bongino was a Secret Service agent for the Obama administration. So
he knows how the security works there.
He's explaining it the best he's allowed to explain it. So if you haven't checked it out, check out Dan Bongino on Rumble. And he goes over it he goes, it doesn't move. There's no way they don't have this information. It's the fact that they're not doing it is more loud than they want it to be.
Well, even right down to, there was a recent Rasmussen poll that showed just about everybody, right, left, and center, does not trust this administration, does not trust the Secret Service, does not trust the FBI. Like, even liberals are like 50% saying we don't trust the FBI, or, and then right after that Rasmussen poll came out, I want to say on like Wednesday or something, Thursday, today is Saturday, Thursday, 2 days ago, they said, we have no suspects, we're dropping it.
Oh yeah, the House of Representatives were up in arms. Like, was it Lauren Boebert found out there was more other substances that were found that were just never brought up.
They found pot there. They found yeah.
Oh dear God, they need pot in that place. God damn. I understand that marijuana is legal in the District of Columbia and has been decriminalized,
but the White House is not part of the District of Columbia. It's federal property.
It's federal property. So, and it's laid out that way in our Constitution. That's what makes that even funnier. My thing is that, as Dan Bongino has said when he was doing his thing, this Coke has magic legs. It walks. Yeah, no, drugs don't walk.
It was like for what, 3 days straight. Every day it was in a different place that they were putting out.
Well, he made the comment. He goes, it could have been ricin.
Right.
You're going to tell me we don't know who brought ricin to the White House?
Right. It's a white powdery substance.
January 6th, we knew everybody who has finally walked into that building, and they have arrested them on either Bank of America sent them charges or whatever. We know who was there. And all, and Ray Epps,
they were tracking
charged,
people's
by the way.
Cell phones. They were
and on another note, Ray Epps has finally been charged for walking into the Capitol.
Has he really?
Yes, he has finally been arrested for it. It was literally this week. he blames Tucker Carlson when he was on the
He
show
sued
for
Tucker Carlson.
Well, he sued him, but Tucker Carlson literally just has the January 6 videos, and everything is being shown that he's calling in for people to go inside the building. That is, if that's an insurrectionist, as it's called, is an insurrectionist.
Right. So that whole, Trump incited violence. No, in order to incite violence, it has an actual definition, and it means a call to action. Ray Epps had a call to action. So,
and he was finally arrested for it. So, but we knew anybody and everybody on January 6th. But we don't know the mystery maker of the cokehead.
We don't know how this mysterious white powder that could have been anthrax, or it could have been cocaine, or it could have been baking powder. It could have been Parmesan cheese that fell out of somebody's pocket. It could have been any of that. We don't know whose it was. And since we don't know whose it was,
came out of someone's ass. I don't know.
Yeah, since we don't know whose it was, we're just going to drop the investigation. Like, when has that ever been a thing for the federal government? We don't know, so we're going to drop it?
Yeah. The American people.
They knew. They found out. They found out it was Hunter, and they went, oh, shit. Remember how we had to cover up for him by trying to get his illegal gun purchase and all that stuff? Let's just not do anything this time.
Yeah, we're just gonna walk away and pretend it went away.
Yeah.
So, being that said, we probably won't hear any more about that, which is dumb. But okay. Last but not least, so Tucker Carlson yesterday hosted the Iowa caucus. I watched a lot of it yesterday.
This was I guess televised on Blaze on
Blaze TV online.
Blaze TV Glenn Beck's network.
Yeah. I think the first YouTube has all 5 that he interviewed, but in short clips. Fucking, he ate Mike Pence alive. Oh my God.
Mike Pence should have been eaten alive. Mike Pence is a dick.
But then you had Tim Scott there. You had a couple other ones that, and then you realize when he's talking to him. I mean, and the thing is, when he's asking the questions and giving them all the benefit of the doubt. If they're losing to Tucker in this kind of form, what are they going to do when they have to debate with Trump on the stage?
Right. So, all right, here we go.
President, you are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States.
Right.
And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased.
Right.
And yet, the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks.
Right.
I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Anybody that says that we can't be the leader of the free world.
Yes, he did just say that's not my concern.
Yeah, I mean, you're the president of the United States. The United States absolutely should be your first priority. You want to make sure we are set at home before you are helping anybody else overseas. That, for example, World War II, when it first started, we just got out of World War I. 2, we just are bouncing back from a Great Depression. And before we were asked to come join, and the first time we said, no, not our problem. Till the Japanese decided to hit our harbor in Honolulu, and they said, well, go fuck yourself. We're coming for you now. Absolutely. And I couldn't find the video. I saw a video where someone while Mike Pence was walking through Iowa, someone hit him in the back of the head with a water balloon. I was like, yes, he got
Well,
nailed.
the thing that pissed me off is just in that little clip is he's like, well, it's not my problem. Well, you want to be the president, which means it will be your problem, and you have to come up with
all right,
something. Now, before we go further, I'm gonna real quick talk about something that bugs me. Can
His
you
face?
see my pointer?
His
Can you
face.
see my pointer on here?
No, oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So microphone 1, and then over here is microphone 2. The proximity effect is driving me batty. And that's where 2 microphones are too close to each other. And you get this because this microphone is picking up what he's saying a split second before this microphone is picking up, and then vice versa. And it's like, oh, change the proximity on them or turn down the gain so they're not, it's driving me nuts. But that's,
it's just Mike Pence.
it's just Mike Pence's. It's his hair. Look at
his
that
face. Look
it's
at his face.
And look at his hair. Like
It's
looks
painted
like
on.
it looks like it's painted on. It's like Ken hair. You know?
No,
Okay.
I like Ken. Ken does not deserve that kind of disgrace.
All right.
And solve our problems at home has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth. We can do both. And as President of the United States, we will secure our border, we will support our military, we will revive our economy and stand by our values, and we will also lead the world for freedom under my administration. I promise you.
Amen. Vice President Mike Pence, thank you very much.
We have to identify where they are, and I'm not going to pretend that will be an easy task, but that should be the responsibility.
Well, wait a second. The federal government's like knows where everyone is because everyone has a smartphone and they're tracking you.
Yes.
You know, so like we know anyone using a fake social security number, why not just like drop them off in Tijuana? Bye-bye.
Well, I'm going to appoint Tucker Carlson as my bye-bye ambassador to figure this out. So we're going to work together on this. And I look forward to.
Did he say bye-bye ambassador?
He sure fucking did say bye-bye ambassador. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No. What
what
we should do is
Backstreet Boys now.
No, what we should do is fucking put catapults along the southern border. Oh, you're not supposed to be here. Bye.
You know,
Just fucking shoot
Trebuchet
them.
would launch them a lot further.
Yeah.
Just saying. You know. Okay.
I mean,
It's
I
your
don't want to
question,
shoot
but how
them
is
in
it
the
treatment? How
Gulf.
is it treatment? I guess that's my question. If you have a child who's born a boy, I want to become a girl. He hasn't gone through puberty yet. He's say 10. Is it treatment to prevent him from going through the natural process of adolescence? How is that treatment? It seems not like treatment. It seems like something else.
Well, you'll have to, Tucker, I hope that we'll be able to talk about some issues. I know that.
Well, this is one of the biggest issues in the country, and I think every person in this room would agree that it is a central issue because
So this is a big social issue, and politics as downstream of social. So everything starts as a social issue before it becomes a political issue.
Absolutely. And look at the before you hit play. So the United States, the federal government put in their military request to eliminate gender affirming care out of the military budget. So you cannot join the United States military to become a man or become a woman if you are the opposite gender. And in that proposal, if you're a woman who became a man, you must sign up for selective service.
I think you should anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you want to be a man, then that means you have to have all of the rights and penalties of being a man, which means selective service.
Absolutely.
I think that should have been, not that I'm against, obviously I'm for women voting and the Suffrage Act and everything, but that should have been a part of the Suffrage Act is, listen, you want the right to vote. That means you also have the right to be selected into the military.
And that's why men got the right. And back in the day, that's why men had the rights to vote before women, is because if you're going to sign up to die for your country, you should have to be able to have the vote to for the government.
Now, not to get what movie is it? Starship Troopers.
Oh,
I don't
God,
think it should go that far. Starship Troopers. Obviously, it's an analogous, whatever that word is, to the Nazi Party. That's why they're in Buenos Aires and all this stuff. But in that one, it took it a step further, where you, in order to vote, have to be military first, and then once you get out of the military, then you can vote.
I talked about this as I believe that all 18-year-olds, I know some countries actually do this. You must serve at least 2 years.
I don't like that for the US, but I think it, as a part of voting, and I'll use myself as an example.
I'm not saying for
on my
regular
18th
voting.
birthday, I went down and I had to go down to the my township hall or wherever it is. I got my voter's registration and I had to sign the little thing for selective
draft
service.
card.
Yep. My draft card.
All right.
So, all right.
These are children who are being altered permanently, and you can defend that alteration, that change, if you like, but there's really no debate about whether or not it's permanent. And so I think it's fair to ask you in a calm, rational, and I very much hope polite way, why you would support that. When I asked about the 81 million votes, you immediately said things I think I agree with about election integrity. So are you suggesting that that'll last election? It sounds like you're saying you don't think it was on the level.
Are you talking about the presidential?
That's correct, the presidential.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we all know that there were irregularities in there and that there were some issues that happened. We know that there was mail-out balloting that shouldn't have happened. Do I think that changed the results of the election? No. I mean, I think President Biden ended up winning the election.
You want to know what caused January 6th? There's such a temptation to say.
So my mom, I talked to her last night and she really liked Nikki Haley. After listening to her, I don't mind Nikki Haley. I like her as a different position. I don't think she has what it takes to be a president. I think she's too wishy-washy when push comes to shove. And I think she's great in other positions. I think she'd be a great vice president, but not as a president. You know, if it wasn't like my favorite ticket, if possible, would be Ron DeSantis and Tulsi Gabbard. But I think Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley wouldn't be that bad either.
I've actually walked away from Ron DeSantis recently.
Really?
Yeah. I've
We'll have to have a conversation about this. All right. Let's keep going because there's like 2 more minutes.
Say that there's one man whose name is unspeakable. We can't.
No, first of all, it's QAnon. It's QAnon.
It's QAnon. You want to know what caused January 6th? Is pervasive censorship in this country in the lead up to January 6th. You tell people in this country they cannot speak. That is when they scream. You tell people they cannot scream. That is when they tear things down. So that's the lead up of 1 full year of telling people you have to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. And then you tell them, okay, there's an election where you didn't get the information that you needed, such as the Hunter Biden laptop story being real and suppressed. That's what caused January 6th.
So the tragic loss of life ransacking the Capitol that occurred. But I really do believe that a day of tragedy became a triumph of freedom. And I'll always believe that by God's grace, I did my duty that day under the Constitution of the United States of America and our institutions held.
Pause it.
And I think it's absolutely
because he had more rights under the Constitution after he chose not to do anything, and that is his choice. He made his choice. When the House became the 17th edition, 117th edition of the House, they changed the powers of the vice president to strip those ability away from overturning an election. He had the ability to.
They had the ability to extend the voting period. He could have said,
he had
hey,
the ability to have, because states sent 2 sets of electors. Those states, they had the ability to send them back and figure out what they were going to do.
right.
And then go on from there. He chose not to do it, and that is his choice as the president of the Senate to do so, and the vice president of the United States. If he feels like he did his due diligence, fine. Do the people think he did the right job? Absolutely not.
Not at all. No. And that's why he is going to be one of the first people knocked out of the primary.
Fucking Trump. Oh, he's going to go up stage. Trump's going to be there, and he's going to be I guarantee you they will not put Pence next to Trump.
Oh, no, they'll be on the complete opposite ends.
Fucking Trump is going to look at him from one end to the other, and he's going to just sit there and look at him like, you were a piece of shit VP, and you're going to be a piece of shit president.
Yep.
And just eat him up.
Yes.
And I'm there for it. I will be there for that shit.
Really essential that we do everything in our power to restore public confidence in the one person, one vote principle at the heart of this republic.
Why not just get rid of electronic voting machines and call it a day, and then we don't have to debate it? One of the powers that government did usurp over the past several years is the right to decide what medicine you take in the form of COVID mandates. How did you feel about that? And how many COVID shots did you take? And how do you feel about it now, in retrospect?
How many COVID shots did you take?
0.
I really want to put like the what's that meme with the glasses and the
the gangster one?
The gangster meme. Like I heard that on another podcast where he said he goes, well, how many COVID shots did you take? 0. And like just stop. Yep, but like pure gangster.
When you have FBI colluding with big tech to censor dissent, I would fire those people. Had I been president 2020, Anthony Fauci would have been fired, and you've got to be willing to do it.
Thing is, Anthony Fauci's position, he could not be fired by the president of the United States. He could have been recommended to be fired by the president of the United States, but where his position lied, Anthony Fauci was not subject to be terminated by the president of the United States. So I understand, because Trump had already spoke that he wanted to fire Anthony Fauci, but when he realized that he was unable to, there was nothing.
And not only that, it was a presidential election, so it would have looked even worse for him to fire Anthony Fauci at the time.
You know, deep down, if he could have, he would have.
Right. I'm sure. So we are less than a year away from the primaries.
Oh, it's going to be a fucking sweaty year. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be.
I hope you're ready for it.
We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about come like February through May.
I mean,
I think
between
June.
all the bullshit Biden's going to fucking do, because we already know Biden's going to be a one-term president. So,
well, and the question is how's he going to be a one-term president? Is he going to get voted out, or is he going to get impeached, or like?
I mean,
because
we know somebody
is pulling his strings. Somebody is blackmailing him.
Oh, we already had this conversation. We had the conversation off air. Yeah, I called it where like he keeps sending money over that. There's a blackmail scheme going on. And I was like, I fucking knew it. That's why he's just closing his eyes and just writing checks. Yep. But my honest to goodness thing is that, I think it was like a year and a half ago. Well, I made the statement while Trump was still in office. United States is a country, but it's a corporation. There's an EIN number for the United States. It is a corporation. Got to remember, we're the employees and then up the chain. In any corporate matter, the president, CEO. So the question is, I've always had this question is, There's someone pulling strings. There's someone wearing a Biden face mask because I fucking called that shit.
Yeah.
And or there's a clone of him and it's just a fucking retard.
It's all deep fakes now.
It's all
AI.
deepfakes.
It's AI. Yeah.
But
that's what it is.
It's gonna be an interesting year to see from now until voting time this time next year. Because this time next year,
well, and the other part is, and this is where I think Ron DeSantis has the edge over all of the other candidates, is the way that he won Florida again, knowing that there was mail-in ballots. So he said, fine, if the Democrats are going to send their people out and try to flood the place with mail-in ballots, I'm going to flood the place with mail-in ballots also. And I had this conversation again last night with my parents, and we were talking about Trump losing and, did Biden really get the most votes ever? And I said, fuck yeah, he did, and so did Trump. Do you know why they both got the most votes ever? Is because people who do not vote were voting, because it took absolutely nothing when you get basically mailed a ballot to say, I'm circling this and sending it back. When you have to put your own stock into voting, you have to get up the day of voting. It's all on one day. You have one shot, one chance. You have to put your own stock. You have to figure out your own timeline. I have work today, so I can either go before work at 7:00 or I can go after work, stand in line, have to go through and fill out all the stuff there, have to sit in that little booth. And when you're in that little booth, look at everyone there knowing I have about 30 seconds and I cannot look anybody up. I cannot do anything like that. I have to choose. That's the difference. And I know a lot of left are going to say, so you're not for everybody voting. I fucking am. But I also want everybody to have stock in voting. The only way to do that is to have a voting day. Look at how much information comes out the week before, election day. You have to have everybody to have the same amount. Pennsylvania is a great example. People voted for a fucking dead guy and voted him into office. Why? Because they filled it out like a month before election day.
Yep.
He died after they sent in their ballots. So that is why you need to have one day where everybody votes at the same time. You don't have to worry about all these irregularities. You don't have to worry about all of these if you have the mail-in ballot, I like how Michigan used to do it. Yeah, you can mail in your ballot if you have a reason to vote absentee. Like you're in school, you're in the army, you're away on business.
No, I'm all for absentee ballot. I believe if you're going to vote, I believe all businesses should be closed on voting day.
Right. And you know what's weird? I have never had a job that made me work and not give me time to go vote. Every job I ever had gave me time to go vote.
My employers, when voting day came, you want to go vote? Let us know. We'll block out time.
Yes, that's exactly what they did.
They're like, hey, you don't even want to we'll pay you to go vote. Just let us know when you're going to go.
Yes. Every single job I've had since I was 18, when I worked the day of that, gave us time to go vote. They even said, hey, did you vote yet?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I haven't had a chance. And they go, okay, well, such and such should be coming back soon. Once he comes back, go ahead and go.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. And if you're going to vote absentee, it should be, and I like the way Michigan used to do it. It was your votes did not even open. They did not even open the absentee ballots unless it made a difference in the on-site voting. And up until 4 years ago, it didn't make a difference. I don't know the last time outside of 4 years ago that Michigan actually opened up absentee ballots. I voted in every election, a couple of them absentee. that meant my vote didn't technically count, but if it was close, it would have. And that's where it should be. You need to have skin in the game. If you want to vote and you're not able to that day, then you have to show a legitimate reason why you cannot vote that day. Not just, oh, I don't feel like going. Universal absentee ballot is bullshit. I said it when I was in Oregon, and that's how they ran every election. And I'm saying it now. All right. Ready to close this out?
Yep, we'll close it out. So, this is episode 77 of Fire Talk Radio. Thank you again. We'll see y'all next week.
This is Fire Talk Radio Podcast, and you can check us out on firetalkradio.com. You can email us at firetalknetwork@gmail.com. You can send us a voicemail at 814-380-9820. You can always check us out live on YouTube and Rumble. Hit the like and subscribe button to find out when we go live, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting and streaming platform.
We can only count to four. We can only count to four. We can only